It's time for all your binge-worthy pop culture news. It's time for all your binge-worthy pop culture news. Welcome to Up and Adam.
Hey, guys, welcome back. And I just want to say, guys, StreamYard has been acting up. I said that yesterday, and we don't know what's going on with it. But hopefully our friends at StreamYard will get it together. Guys, we're back with another exclusive today from Ronald Richards, and he always brings it. One thing I have to say is when he comes with these exclusives, he's always giving us the documentation to back up exactly what he's saying. It's so important that we continue to give this platform so we can hear about what's going on with the Girardi cases and also what's going on with the victims. So without further ado, guys, if you haven't already, go ahead, smash that like button. Ronald Richards is back again with more information, never heard before information. So let's welcome him back. Hi, Ronald. How are you?
Hey, Adam. How are you doing this morning?
Oh, my gosh. Good. It's busy. It's always busy after a Beverly Hills day because we watch the episodes and then there's so much to unpack.
Oh, yeah. I mean, again, I'm not going to digress on to last night's episode, but my God, it is now reality has basically juxtaposed with the show. And so we now have basically it caught up to real world events, which is so exciting.
My gosh, I feel like this is never ending. Well, for those who don't know why we're here, I'm going to go ahead and bring up a tweet you teased us with, and you were letting us know that there was more information out there. Do you mind if I bring up the tweet?
No, I don't.
Okay, so let's go ahead, bring it up here. And in this tweet, you said, breaking news, the government just moved to dismiss a pending criminal action where a housewife was a witness. We believe our efforts helped a non-client unrelated to our investigation due to the fact that we have exposed credibility problems with this witness. More to come. Now, of course, everyone wanted to know exactly what are you talking about? Who are you talking about? Which housewife? This was a big deal. I saw Twitter go nuts over this.
Yeah, it's a big deal because typically when someone's not aware of a pending matter and it's sort of been kept off the radar, and then we got word that basically work that we provided was going to cause a great outcome. It got me really excited, but of course the matter was still pending, but was going to be dismissed. So I didn't want to be in a situation where I was somehow muzzled. So I basically put out a cryptic, intentionally vague tweet to preserve the record, knowing that I was hoping we would get a dismissal. And then, of course, it came.
Awesome. So, and we talked about this before. It's very important we don't need to name the former defendant because that doesn't matter. And also, we don't need to put more heat on this person. We're here today to talk about who the housewife was.
That's correct. My interest in this, so everyone's clear, this has nothing whatsoever to do with any client we're representing. It's unrelated to any matter we're counsel for. But sometimes as an attorney, you didn't go to law school just to basically get paid or represent well-off people. Sometimes when you see a wrong and a public figure throws it out there and you're thinking, hey, wait, this just can't be right. I think maybe the authorities don't have all the facts. You sort of have an obligation to help out if you can. And
right.
The reason why I do this with you and why I post things not related to our cases is because we get information out and then people will contact us with a problem and say, this person's doing this to me, and or we'll get information that we've gathered and people will need clarification. And so we could help out somebody that was just basically involved in something that maybe they shouldn't have been, and I'm going to explain it. But that person now is a former defendant. They have nothing to do with this. They need to live their life. In no way are we going to ever discuss them or ever deal with them. It's almost like a person that's been victimized of a crime. You don't publish their information. This is a little different. They're a former defendant, and we're not going to in any way talk about them. But we are going to talk about someone who publicly brought it up, and we're going to talk about the good news is that they're not going to be used as a witness against anybody, and there's a great outcome for everybody, probably including the person that brought it up, because I don't think they want to be a witness right now. So I'm happy about this outcome, and I'm happy that you provide a format where we're protecting people that aren't public figures and focusing on just sort of an interesting antidote, which has to be disclosed to the public. And I just want everybody to know, I really was tortured with this, but too many times when famous people are victims of innocuous offenses or small offenses, their complaints are sometimes treated better than if an average person complains. And you've seen this, Adam, on the news recently, when a Caucasian woman is missing, it seems like it's national news. But if it's a person of color, it's not always national news. And why is that? And it seems like if a celebrity is an alleged victim, everybody drops what they're doing, and maybe there's an over attention to a specific matter, and that's not really fair either. So that's why I had to come forward with this, because that is another thing we need to root out in the legal system, I believe. I think we lost you, Adam. Can anybody hear me? This is so weird.
Ronald, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there. You knocked me out for a minute.
No. It's again with StreamYard. Okay, sorry. Please carry on.
I don't know. Did I get cut off?
Yes. So it cut us off, but you were talking about how when celebrities, all of a sudden, when they're a victim or there's something going on with them, then it's huge news. But we, as average people, sometimes don't get the same coverage.
Yeah, I think everybody heard me, but the general concept is the legal system has to be fair when celebrities are defendants, meaning they can't be treated differently, but also when they're witnesses or victims, we can't have an overcharging or sort of an over attention to that matter. And, I've represented people that have been accused of Cameron Diaz was a victim once in a case. I've had Joe Francis as a victim. I mean, a lot of cases in my career, I've represented people that have been accused by celebrities of victims. And fortunately, in those cases, the resolutions I got for the clients were sort of what they should have been, not because of the fact that the victim was a celebrity. But in this particular case, I didn't feel good about the fact that there was a case going on where this person was actually going to be a witness and was a victim. And I thought we should just not have them in that position, and anything I could do to contribute to that decision was a positive one.
Right. All right. Well, I mean, honestly, I'm watching the chat. I'm seeing everyone's going crazy over this. Can we find out who this housewife is?
Yeah, I posted on the feed this morning. Can we go to the feed for a minute? I want to go over a couple things.
Absolutely.
All right.
All right. So we have the feed here, and your most recent post is this one.
No, let's go to the first one that I posted where we started the Truth or Lies episode.
Okay. Here we go.
I would go, it's back. Yeah, go further down, further down, further down, right there. That's the one. Let's play that one.
All right.
You got to give them volume.
Oh my God. Guys, why don't I play this game where we say...
Here we go.
Oh my God. Guys, why don't I play this game where we say...
Guys, it's loading 1 second.
While it's loading, what we're doing is we're playing the episode, which aired on May 26, 2001, which drew our attention to certain admissions by the Housewives. The first one dealt with apparently working in an escort agency. So this was the first one that caught our attention.
Okay.
If this was true based on, basic issues with escort agencies and other problems that, the famous cases, I don't need to repeat them. We were concerned, is this accurate? So go to this one.
Here we go.
This game where we say three things. Okay. Two truths and one lie. And we have to guess what's the lie. Okay. Chris?
Why? Why is it not?
If you want, Adam, I could probably play it on my phone.
Okay.
And you'll get better volume. So let me just do that, and then you can play it up. We can just tee it up that way.
Okay.
Okay, here we go.
Two truths and one lie. And we have to guess what's the lie. Okay? Christy, you go first.
Okay, ready?
Yeah.
I've been arrested. I worked at an escort agency. I've been propositioned to become a madam.
Oh my God. What's the lie?
Arrested.
What?
Yeah.
She's so good at this game.
I worked at an escort agency.
All right.
I was at an escort.
With a phone number.
So when we first heard that one, we were wondering what escort agency, what's going on? Was there any investigation into this? And we found it, fascinating that this was something that someone would admit. And so we wanted to look into that to see if there was anything else going on. We posted on our page everybody else's truth or lies. And then we got to the last one, which created a lot of controversy back in May. I don't know if anybody remembers that, but we're posting now on the site the statements by Erica Girardi that she basically said she was a government witness in a case and that she wore a wire. And we're posting that clip now. And I can play that clip if it's posted, but I'll also play the audio since you're having audio issues. Okay, so let's play that clip.
Here it is. You ready? I wore a wire and was a witness in a government case.
Oh!
I am adopted and I used to work for the mafia. Well, you clearly were not adopted, so everything else you've done. I am adopted.
Wow, how many children?
My stepfather adopted me, but my mom is my mom.
What's the answer?
I'll tell you privately. I can't tell. I told too much, but I'll tell you privately. That's a cheat.
Erica is so guarded that it is impossible to know which one of hers is alive.
I can neither confirm nor deny my truth or a lie.
Rana, your time.
Okay, so after we heard that, I became concerned, again, unrelated to anything I'm doing for any client. How is this possible that she could be a witness in a case, and why would the government ever be using her? Like, it made no sense to me because of everything that's going on. So I realized this had to be from a few years ago. This has to be 4 or 5 years old, this statement. And also, typically, if you're working with the government, you don't announce it on a reality TV show. So the whole thing, Adam, made no sense to me. And eventually, as everybody knows, I've put together information that may call into question credibility. And also, it made no sense to me that once I discovered there was, in fact, a case, this was not a high dollar amount, like in the $700,000 range, which is not typical for a federal type case. So I was concerned about it. And eventually, this information was passed on. New personnel were assigned to the case. And giving total credit to the U.S. Attorney's Office, the case was dismissed. So that, to me, like, after a fresh set of eyes was looked at it, the case was gone.
Okay.
And that was these people need to be commended for independently reviewing that, because it seems so unfair that after everything that's gone on, that on a low dollar amount case, that she would be a witness and someone could actually go to prison as a result of money that she allegedly would have lost that was repaid to her by her credit card company. And that money could have been other people's or other lenders or other creditors. I mean, the whole thing sounded so bad that I was relieved to find out that the right result occurred.
Right. Okay.
So that was the great news, that as a result of work that we've accomplished, there was a fresh look at this, and she's no longer working with the government on this case as not as a witness.
So then we're talking about Erica here then.
Erica, that's correct.
Got it. Okay. Wow. This is when you try to break it down, because I see a lot of people in the chat and they're like, who was it? I'm so lost. What was the crime? This is a lot.
Okay. Well, just to sort of give a 30,000 feet view, typically, like in a credit card case, if your credit card is charged and there's an unauthorized or disputed charge and you dispute it, the credit card company just reverses the charge.
Right.
And in this case, basically there were some charges that were disputed, and Erica somehow became a victim and someone else got charged as a result of her statements. And then she was going to be a witness in the case. Okay.
So, Erica, this is never ending for Erica.
Yes, she wore a wire. That she cooperated in the case to basically where she contended she was a victim of some sort of credit card offense. But now that case has been dismissed.
So it seems like Erica has been involved in, this isn't her first rodeo when it comes to the Girardi scandal, because she's been involved in other cases before. But now, like you said, this is dismissed, so it's no longer relevant to her.
Yes, she's not going to, the government isn't going to, the whole thing is so mixed up. How does she have the credibility in a case where the credit card charges came from the law firm to then be claiming she's a victim of some sort of issue with the credit card?
Got it.
And so basically now, because of the information that was provided, those charges were dismissed and someone's not facing criminal charges as a result of Erica claiming she's a victim. And to me, that's a great outcome. And I'm very happy that this occurred. That's why I was so excited about it. But it took 2 days for the case to be dismissed.
And it's just based off of the admissions made on the reality show.
The admissions on the reality show drew our attention to looking into what is she talking about. Typically if you're she said she wore a wire. So that implied to me that she was working on a case.
Right.
And then we discovered there was a case. Yes. Your comments, the people are asking, does it have anything to do with her current case? No, nothing whatsoever to do with her current case. But some other person was getting prosecuted as a result of her participation and testimony. And now they're not.
Which is amazing.
Yeah, it's an amazing result. And the dismissal occurred, I wasn't going to comment about it until the dismissal occurred. So it just occurred. But it's amazing that after all this was going on, had we not publicized basically our concerns about her in general, there would have never been a connection or knowledge as to whether they should reach out and discuss it. And it's because of the public knowing about it that the right people got the right information and were able to do a fresh look. If this was all concealed and nobody talked about it and nobody ever scrutinized it, then what would have happened is theoretically, no one would have known about it. This poor person could have gone to trial, and the first time the public would have found out about it was like in the trial. I mean, it would have been an injustice.
So this could have changed this person's life forever. But since there were these admissions on the show, thankfully, now this former defendant is no longer facing charges, which is amazing, and kind of the power of social media and the show being on such a huge platform.
Yeah, and I don't love the word social media because nothing's social sometimes about a Twitter page. I mean, it's your page. You can do whatever you want. You can make it funny. You could provide information. It's no different than a press conference or talking to people in Central Park. But in this particular case, because she opened up a topic on TV, and then a lot of people, Adam and May, were talking about this. I don't know if you remember, we may have even talked about it on the show, about whether it was legitimate that she worked on a government case. And now, as of yesterday, the charges were dismissed. So there is no more charges. And I believe the reason why the charges were dismissed is because she would not be a credible witness, and there'd be a lot of impeachment material to go after. I mean, how is she going to get on a witness stand? I think she's probably relieved that she doesn't have to be subject to cross-examination.
D. Riley said, so Erica was, where did this just go? This chat is going so fast. So Erica was technically would have been testifying against this person.
Exactly. And then the government would have been in an odd situation. They'd have to disclose what's called Brady material. It's called Giglio material. They'd have to disclose any information they had that would show that she's not truthful. And that would be odd. And by the way, I found it odd that this case ever got charged, because typically little cases don't get charged like this, you know, especially with a credit card, Adam. I mean, the credit card company returned the money years ago to Erica. So it just made no sense. And then she brought it up out of the blue on May 26, 2021. And it just was a disturbing series of events that now it seems justice has been rectified. One of your callers, Valerie Strand, she said it's not chump change, but it is chump change when you look at federal guidelines. I mean, they don't charge every single case. I mean, right. And there was no loss. If the credit card company is returning the money, they weren't pushing it. Usually the merchant just pays back the money if there's a dispute. And none of this ever happened. It's a strange set of facts, and I'm glad that we could disclose it, because no one knew that there was a live case with her as the witness. That was previously never disclosed.
Lizette Soria said, is she going to be prosecuted for falsely accusing someone of credit card fraud?
No, because she didn't falsely accuse anybody. There was all sorts of issues, whether her assistant, authorized it. It's just that she had a relationship, obviously, with the merchant, and she didn't falsely accuse anybody. The government made their own decision, but it would go down to her credibility. And I don't think that you can find her in a situation where money is at issue, especially during the time period where people were losing money in the law firm. I mean, and all the things that have come out, that she's going to now, I mean, that would be a warped sense of justice, that she got all her money back, but someone could possibly go to prison and she's going to be testifying as a victim who lost money. I can't explain the optics. Hopefully it's obvious to you and your viewers why that just doesn't sit right.
Absolutely. And so even though this isn't relevant now because this person is no longer a defendant, what kind of time could this person have faced had this information not have come out and they say they were found guilty, they went to trial?
I mean, they could have, on the sentencing guidelines, I mean, they could have done a year to 2 years in prison. And that's wrong, for sure. And it just, someone asked, Jill Adams asked, was it her credit card? No, it's the same law firm credit card that, we've looked at. I mean, it's the same credit card. So the credit card company refunded the money, and the merchant, according to their merchant agreement, would just pay the money back or resolve the dispute with their credit card merchant bank, Amex, Visa, whoever's gonna issue the charge back. And instead of that process happening, which really does happen all the time, somehow, and if everyone will remember, her husband has been accused of influencing the state bar in other agencies. And this secondarily became a concern of mine. Why would all of a sudden a low grade credit card chargeback case, it wasn't like someone was illegally using her card. It was someone that had already used her, charges on her card. How did this end up in a criminal case that nobody knows about? Why was this all kept under the radar? And so that was a secondary reason. I never had to get there because the case was dismissed. But, the selectiveness of it didn't sit well. And I commend whoever reviewed it, that they probably didn't think the optics looked good either. I mean, why would she become a victim? I see Kempire's joined the party too. Do a little shout out to him.
Hey, Kempire.
Hey.
Yes. Okay.
So that's sort of where we're at. I'm looking at all the comments and I find it hysterical that some people would actually think this is not a big deal. I think it's a big deal that there was a case going on where she was the witness and a victim and no one knew about it. I mean, again, if you don't think it's important, then get off the channel. I mean, I think it's important. And yes, the case was dismissed. That's why I'm talking about it. I wasn't going to do anything to affect the decision to dismiss it, but I wanted to preserve the fact that we exposed it and participated in it to some extent. But I don't think this stuff happens. I mean, there is no other housewife I'm aware of that was a witness in a case, then publicly talked about it. I thought maybe it was the first clip I showed dealing with the escort case, because that escorts seem to be more, Adam, the cause de jour and sort of focusing different prosecutions with, the famous cases that about, the Epstein case, other cases. But I never envisioned that this would fall into her again. I mean, I wasn't looking for her, but it came to me because of your broadcast. And I will tell you, without getting to specifics, people listen to this broadcast for information and not just housewife junkies. I've been personally told that. And so it provided a good thing because other people don't listen on Twitter or they don't know what Instagram is, but sometimes they click on a YouTube and they can just listen and they go, hey, I have a case. This lawyer may have some information to help me, or I want to understand what he's talking about. I can't believe people are asking still if it was dismissed. Yes, it was dismissed. It was dismissed because I believe no one in good conscience could go forward with Erica claiming she was a victim of a credit card issue, with the credit card not even being paid by her and the same expenses deducted as, I've previously said on the tax return, and why and the credit card company refunded the money. How is this something that should be in criminal court?
Oh. Okay, so obviously in the chat, everyone keeps saying they wish that this would have came out before the reunion, so that would have been a part of the questioning of Andy Cohen. But now we know that they start filming the new season at the end of October. So I'm sure all of this with everything else that continues to come out, and we heard that there might even be a second Hulu documentary of The Housewife and the Hustler, like a continuation. I'm curious because I'm not shocked by anything anymore. I feel like everything just keeps piling on, and we'll have to continue to see what happens. And as you post it, we will be here to cover it.
Hey, Adam, Lauren Gale asked a good question. Why was it dismissed instead of the jury decide her credibility? That's a great question. And let me answer that, Lauren. The reason why is because a prosecutor, and I believe there's mostly all ethical prosecutors, they have a duty to dismiss cases if there's a reasonable doubt. You don't put a man or a woman on trial if you believe you can't prove the case beyond a reasonable doubt, or your witness has some propensity to not tell the truth. So they make the right decisions. And if in this case, it's so, for lack of a better word, it's so captain obvious that there's doubt if she's going to claim she's a victim of a credit card chargeback fraud,
right?
That they just made the decision. You don't force someone to go to trial and let the jury decide their credibility. That's not our legal system. You only go to trial with the righteous cases, the best cases, the cases where there's basically no doubt. That's the cases that are supposed to go to trial. The way it's supposed to work is if other people come forward and they bring up issues that go to credibility and the victim has issues, prosecutors are supposed to ferret out those cases. And that's the system we have. That's why if I'm ever in a trial, when I used to exclusively do criminal defense, I'd always apologize to my client and say, sorry, I couldn't get the prosecutor to create doubt and dismiss this thing, because that's what you wanted. You don't ever want to go to trial and put your life in 12 people's hands unless you're forced to. The way the system is designed is if you get indicted or charged and a judge or a grand jury keeps the charges, there's still a huge opportunity for you to gather evidence and convince the prosecutor's office that the case is problematic and doesn't belong in a criminal court. You still have civil court to get money, but criminal should only be reserved for cases that are bulletproof. That way you prevent innocent people, or even marginally innocent people, or even questionably innocent people from suffering the stigma and expense and risk and stress of a criminal trial.
See, and I think that's amazing for everyone who might not be following at this point or just coming into the room. It's amazing that by using this platform, and you don't want to call it social media, so we'll call it Twitter, by using these different platforms and continuing on these conversations, it's helping people. And this person who was a defendant formerly, who is now not, just by talking about it, by coming on here, by using this platform, we made a difference in someone's life. I think that's amazing. And it's also another reason why I applaud what you do for being so active on Twitter, continuing these conversations. You never know who's watching. It really is true. We have over 2,000 people in the room, and you just don't know who one of those people could be. They could be a lawyer looking to see what your information is and how they can help one of their clients. You just really never know. You never know who's watching you. So again, I thank you for jumping on here and, taking these questions and dealing with the live chat, because you do obviously, when you bring information like this, you'll have people who are skeptical and they want to know more answers. They want to know exactly what you're talking about, where you're coming from, and where this all originated from. So
yeah, Adam, to talk about the platform, it's not Twitter only, obviously. On YouTube, when we're doing a live broadcast, which again, you've said this 1,000 times, you don't tell me the questions in advance. This isn't makeup TV. This is ask me whatever you want. The people listen to this. And the other reason why I brought this forward, and again, I don't care if people want to be nasty or mean. Most people are not. But you should realize there's a lot of people that don't understand their rights, and they may be a victim of a prosecution by a rich and powerful person, or a famous person, or a politically connected person. How many people do you know fit that category? And I want everybody to know that if that's you, then you have a voice. You have ways to get help, because that's not right. Some people should not be prosecuted because the victim has influence, power, or connections. They should just be prosecuted on the facts. I'm not saying that was the motivation here. It's just that it does happen. Oh, thank you, Ms. Johnson. I appreciate that. It does happen, and it's okay for people to know that. And they got to tell their lawyer, or they got to tell their friends, hey, you know, is it because Citibank got screwed that I'm getting prosecuted? Or is it because it's Microsoft or Apple or a rich and powerful corporation? Is that why I'm here? I think those motives, people don't realize they're allowed to question the motive of the prosecution in a case, or talk to the prosecutor and say, did this powerful victim influence you? In pharmaceutical cases, many times people then get to work for the pharmaceutical company or big pharma or big IT companies. And that does have an influence. And I'm not saying that people in government are ever influenced, but you need to ask the questions and you need to have them think. And if there is a sort of a suggestion, Adam, that they are influenced in their impartiality is being questioned, that person's advocate or lawyer can legally bring that to the attention of the court and to a supervisor and possibly another supervisor. And someone may say, you know what? This doesn't seem right. Why are we prosecuting this person? It smells dirty. It's not like it came to us clean. Did you take this case, Mr. Investigator, because you wanted a favor or because you were helping a famous person? And all those questions are fair game, because when someone's being charged, they have a right to bring up all the things that could legally defend them. And that's why I brought this forward, because it's the same silence that allowed Tom Girardi to get away with this for decades. And I'm never going to be silent. I'm going to bring up little nuances that people don't always know about. And then as a lawyer that has almost 30 years experience, this stuff is helpful to people, I find.
I agree with you. There's so many people in the chat right now who are even saying, thank you so much for honestly, you are a wealth of knowledge. You're helping us break this stuff down. And a lot of us who didn't study law might not understand the law. So it's important to, like I said earlier, continue to have these conversations, because as you can see from the chat, this really helps people. People love listening to it. Some people, might not always understand. And sometimes I don't always understand the legal jargon. So that's why I'm always excited to bring you and a few of our other favorite legal commentators on here to help us break it down. And
okay, great. We'll give a little preview. I'm doing a Jen Shaw piece today. I'm going to break that down. It'll be aired in a little bit, but on a regular network. But these things need to be broken down. And it's always laughable that people think that I do this for some sort of personal attention. It's almost laughable. I do it because it's called a give back, because otherwise you have non-practicing lawyers or people that aren't in the actual ground that just sort of commentate, and they're allowed to commentate. But I think everyone's entitled to a unique perspective. And since I actually go to a lot of courts, carry an 80+ case file, I have my own perspective, and you can listen to it or not. But at least some people do like it. In fact, most people do.
I agree with that. And, you said you were doing Jen Shaw piece later, and eventually we'll get to see it. I don't want to give too much information about what you're up to, but is there a time frame that we can look forward to seeing this?
Yeah, I'll find out today when I get to the production. That they're sending a car in about 15 minutes. But basically, that case is complicated. And when you hear stuff like free Jen Shaw or she's innocent, it ignores a lot of historical facts that need to be brought forward. This is not a game when you're playing with victims and people's lives. And sometimes they need to be called out before the case just to balance the playing field of information. And that's what I intend to do in a narrow and circumscribed role. So with that, Adam, I'm glad we got this out. And if anybody has any further questions, of course, you could always contact us on our platforms, and we'll do our best to answer them. We try to answer mostly everybody's questions, as you all know. And no, Mad Doll, Erica is not going to jail. This is not an attack on Erica. This is a compliment to the legal system that just saved somebody that would have been unfair to have her as a witness on these facts.
I agree with that. And Lacey, thank you so much. A lot of attorneys are not willing to empower the everyday person. So you're doing great. You're doing a great deed. Ronald Richards and India Johnson, thank you so much for supporting the channel. Guys, again, Ronald Richards is tweeting daily, if not weekly. Always there's new information coming out. He's always keeping us posted. So if you're not familiar, follow him on Twitter at Ronald Richards. Of course, you can find him in the link of this video too. That way you can follow him, not on social media, but on Twitter. I have one last one I want to bring up before we go. Chloe Tobin said, I appreciate you both. This is hard to digest, especially if you don't know law. I don't see any public figures speaking up against her. Chloe? All right.
Well,
all right, Ronald.
Yeah. I mean, they don't. I mean, again, I grew up in Beverly Hills. I travel across the country for cases. I'm licensed in multiple jurisdictions. And I could tell you that in Hollywood, there's always sort of a resistance to speak up sometimes. But once the glass is broken, then you see the floodgates open and people do speak up. This case is not one of those cases. I've been speaking up long before I got involved, and I'll continue to speak up long after, because there's never been a case like this in Southern California affecting so many people. And it's something that needs to be talked about separately from everybody's professional attachments to the case. It's important for people that actually live here, practice law here, are in front of the same judges that are hearing these cases, actually give a flavor that is competent and that's based on actual experience and not just sort of someone summarizing pleadings.
Exactly. All right. And Logan said, Ronald will not be silenced. Yes, keep doing what you're doing, Ronald Richards. Ronald, I appreciate you. I know you have a car coming to pick you up. You are an extremely busy man. We thank you for joining us on our channel, and I hope everyone goes and follows you right now.
Yeah, Nombre asked one last question. I will throw that in, then we'll call it a day. Thanks, Kempire, for the shout out, by the way. Her question was, is this issue only come up in criminal cases where people are where there's sort of a powerful influence over the prosecution? No, and they just want to know if it comes up in civil cases. Yes, sometimes attorneys that are looking for glory take a case where the celebrity is the defendant. That's an obvious one. So that's when a celebrity is treated disproportionately. And sometimes if there's a celebrity that wants to sue and it's not such a great case, an attorney will still file the lawsuit because they get sort of free branding with that lawsuit. So yes, but you cannot really bring up the motive in a civil case, where in a criminal case, the prosecutor represents everybody and also has a duty to protect the innocent. So it is a higher standard, but you could certainly bring that up, but it's not the same type of deal. That makes sense.
All right. All right. Well, thank you for answering all of our questions. And I'm sure we will have you back on, if not next week, the week after, because again, this information does not stop. Ronald, we appreciate you. We will all go follow you on Twitter, and I will definitely be in touch.
Okay. Have a good day, Adam. Take care.
All right. Have a great day. All right, guys, make sure if you're not subscribed, get subscribed, smash that like button. And Jason and I are going live at 11:30 a.m. So here in about 13 minutes to talk about the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Kempire, I see that you're on. If you want to join us, you are more than welcome. That would be a fun chat. Guys, go follow. And also tonight we are doing 6 p.m. Hot Messy Topics, kind of like a happy hour, but check us out. So we will see you guys in 13 minutes to talk about this whole chaotic episode from the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Go follow Ronald Richards on Twitter. I'll see you guys soon. Bye, guys.